Hello, how are you doing? Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful winter scene here. Winter is one of my favorite seasons and I love the fresh snow and how it makes everything look. So if you have a canvas, that's what I used here, that is great. If not, cardboard will work really well. I painted this on cardboard. I just cut it out of a box and I used the same kind of paint, and so cardboard works just as well. Just cut it to the size that you would like your final painting to be. All right, so grab your canvas or cut your cardboard and get some paint and different size brushes if you have them, and we'll get painting. The first thing we're gonna do is paint the bottom part of our picture, our hill, our snowy hill. So the wider the brush you have, the better. We are going to paint the sky next. So I have some blue and white here, and I'm gonna mix that up, and you can adjust the color of your sky by adding more blue or starting with less white. And we're gonna paint our background. As you get closer to where we painted our snow foreground, I'm just going to switch to a smaller brush so I can make sure to get that outlined. You can choose to leave your sky like this, or you can follow me for these next few steps. We're going to add a few swirls, and we're going to end up putting in a little bit of a sun or a moon, depending on how dark or light your sky is. Before moving on to the next step, we need this to be completely dry. So you can either let it dry naturally, and it needs to be 100% dry, or we can blow dry it. So if you're gonna blow dry it, you wanna be at least a foot back so that you're not just super heating up your painting. So make sure your blow dryer nozzle is at least a foot away from your painting, and then you can give it a little blow dry. The next part, if you are painting a moon or a sun into your sky, is we are going to mix a little bit of yellow with more white. So I have just a tiny bit of yellow and a lot more white that I'm going to mix up to get a very pale yellow. And as long as your painting is completely dry, we can go in and paint. I'm going to be painting a moon since my sky is dark. So I have a medium-sized brush that I'm going to start with. And because we have that darker blue behind, we're probably going to end up doing 2 coats. So I just gave it a little bit of blow dryer, and I'm going to paint a second coat over my moon just to help cover up that blue background. Now we are ready to paint in our trees. So grab a medium or large paintbrush and get a good amount of paint on it. And we are going to start in one direction and go as far as we can. And then we'll get some more paint and come from the opposite direction. And then we'll just go up and fill it in. Once you are happy with your trees, if you want to add a second coat of paint, you can do that. But once you are totally happy with your trees, you can decide to grab a smaller paintbrush and add a few branches if you would like. If you have made a sun or a moon, we are going to add a tiny little bit of a moon shadow to the opposite sides of our trees where the moon is. So if my moon is here, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow to each side of these trees on the right side. And so to do that, I'm going to take a little bit of black and mix it in with a little bit of my white to just get a very, very light gray color. And you're going to take your small brush and just go carefully down the right side of your trees, right along that right edge, just to give a little bit of a shadow. So we're going to ignore this tree on the left for this moment, and we're just going to go down on all of these trees and just do a little bit of a gray, light gray shadow. All right, if you are like me and you have your moon or sun in the middle, so if we pretended this was a flashlight and we painted, all of the shadows would have been on the right sides of these trees. But on this tree, the shadow, if the moon is shining on this side, our shadow is going to be on the left side. So this is our only tree that the shadow is going to be on the left side. So the shadow just is going to fall on the opposite side of the tree from your sun or moon. Our next and final step for our trees is to paint our little black lines on our trees. So if you have a small black paintbrush, we can get started with that. And we're just gonna do light little half stripes. And we can alternate. Go on different sides of the tree. To make even finer black lines on our birch trees here, I have a toothpick, and so I'm gonna dip that in my paint, and then you can make an even finer. for our little birds, we are going to pick a different color. I'm going to use red. I like to think of cardinals in the winter time, the male cardinals that are bright red. And so you're going to kind of paint a little football shape here, or an oval. At one end is going to be where the head is, so I'm going to paint a circle on. And depending on what kind of paint you're using, you might need to do another coat. Mine's looking a little thin here. And at the opposite end of where our little head is that we just painted, so we have football, circle for the head, then we're going to just make some little tail feathers off the other end. To add feet, you're going to carefully take your tiny paintbrush, or you can use the toothpick. And we're just going to make little legs coming off the bottom of the bird there. And we can do the same thing for a beak, just a tiny, tiny little triangle. All right. And if you want, you can add a few little dots, like it's eating some seed in the snow here. If you want it to be snowing in your picture, you can take the end of your paintbrush, the opposite end of where the brush is, so just the end of your paintbrush, and dip it in white paint, and then you're just gonna dab onto the painting. And you'll probably get a few snowflakes in before you have to re-dip. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had fun painting. These make beautiful gifts for friends and family, or they look really nice up on your wall. If you want to send me a picture of you with your painting, I would love to see how yours turned out. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon.